waited my entire life for this. The world's gonna start over. I'ma burn it all.
So you're not supposed to like that dude, even though they give him some really cool, again, these are traditional charismatic masculine qualities that are, people just gravitate towards, men and women alike. But he's still wrong at the end of the day. You're not supposed to like that. Don't be that teenage girl who gets sucked in by the player, okay? Because you don't know any better. Everybody going to this movie, we know better.
Good point. Watch out, girls.
I guess I must be that teenage girl who gets sucked in by the player.
You like all the villains.
I like Killmonger.
Gathered together from the cosmic reaches of the universe, here in this great hall of justice, are the most powerful forces of good ever assembled. Dedicated to truth, justice, and peace for all mankind.
I want to acknowledge the movie Black Panther. Gentlemen, Wakanda forever! Hey, what can I say, guys? This was one of the baddest, off-the-hook event movies of the year, and it's only Goonie Goo Goo February. All I gotta say was off the hook. Black Panther. Gentlemen, do you agree or not agree? And I pass this on to my boy, Petey, who's gonna give us a discussion of what actually occurred in the film. Petey, hit me with it.
Okay, going into this film, I was very worried because there was a lot of characters and there was also a lot of hype. And we've sort of been waiting for this or something like this with Wesley Snipes since he'd been talking about it, but then the Blade series sort of ran out of steam. Then there was no interest in Wesley Snipes. So then we had Captain America: Civil War. We saw a great Black Panther. We just hoped it'd be a great movie, right? And I enjoyed it. I loved the movie. It was a lot of fun. I think they were sort of playing off of the other villains that come in with the glasses and sort of nerdy, and then Killmonger has the glasses, but he's not nerdy at all. So it's an interesting sort of play off of what we saw in Guy Pearce in Iron Man 3 and in Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Jamie Foxx, where they had to do the nerd thing, where this guy comes in, he has the glasses, and we're not even playing that game. He's just cool, and he's just vicious and terrible. And that's the one thing that that's the argument I think people are having is, do they like Killmonger more than the Black Panther? I like the Black Panther first. The Black Panther also had a lot of cool, black exploitation moments of a black action hero, like coming through with the outfits. And then there's also a hint to, as you have to remember that a lot of the black action heroes take a lot from James Bond. So when we had the James Bond scenes in the Black Panther, it's sort of a throwback. And you also remember James Bond used to play soccer. So that aspect of being in Africa, kicking, all this stuff, it all worked. I loved it. But it was a lot of fun. I loved all the performers came to play.
I was with you up until the football reference. I was with you.
Listen, James Bond used to kick people. They do it in the first movie. Dr. No, his finishing move is a kick at the end. But anyway.
So, Kyle, what did you think of the movie?
Well, I'm the resident Black Panther expert here, and I've been a Black Panther fan for a very, very long time. Going back, my collection is just about complete. So I came into this film with very, very, very high expectations and very, very, very high hopes. And I'm sitting down, the trailers run and, some stuff starts going on over here. And, hey, I'm sorry to say it, I enjoyed it from start to finish. This was
Get excited! Get excited!
This was
oh my God! I can't believe it.
For those of you who tuned in, hoping that something else was going to happen, you were going to get me to rage out or something of that nature, that I was going to pick up on the nonsense that I hear you. You're right about this whole thing. Hey, be like Killmonger better. You're an idiot. Okay, the only way you could like him better. No, I understand why. Because Killmonger comes over. And they love to do this in movies. They love to give these really cool masculine qualities to the villain. The villain is decisive. The villain does what he wants to do. Nobody can stand up to the villain. He's skillful. He's an expert on all of this. And he's still charismatic at the end of the day.
Smarter than everybody too. Sorry, that too.
And then you have to contrast that with the hero who's what? More stoic, Okay, he's trying to build consent. Literally, it's like it's all the stuff that Obama got slated for. It's like, no, he needs to go in and just punch somebody. So you're not supposed to like that dude, even though they give him some really cool. Again, these are traditional, charismatic, masculine qualities that are people just gravitate towards, men and women alike. But he's still wrong at the end of the day. You're not supposed to like that. Don't be that teenage girl who gets sucked in by the player, okay? Because you don't know any better. Everybody going to this movie, we know better.
Good point. Watch out, girls.
I guess I must be that teenage girl who gets sucked in by the player.
You like all the villains.
I like Killmonger. Okay?
Let's go to what you thought of the movie. Let's go to
You love
Killmonger.
villains, Republican.
So listen, we'll start off from the very beginning. This movie is basically T'Challa becomes king, but he has to prove himself, right? And there's a series of challenges he has. The challenge basically goes out to anyone in the clan, and the different clans of Wakanda. And I got to tell you, the view, the look, the feel of Wakanda is absolutely incredible. I mean, you got to just take a look. This is a hidden country. They decided to keep themselves hidden, even though all the things that happened in Africa, they were not colonized, and they allowed the colonization to go through, right? Because what they're always worried about, Wakanda first, everyone else second, basically. I mean, this is one of the struggles that they have to go through in the movie to decide what they want to do, whether they want to still stay insular or start coming out. And we see bits of that in Avengers Civil War. Now, I mean, the Dora Milaje, off the hook. They look beautiful. They're expert fighters. Fantastic. We see they help. But you also start seeing they have border guards who also have powers, who also use high-tech technology. You also see the other clans or tribes of Wakanda, and I think that's an interesting view of the whole community. Now, there are two challenges that our friend has to go through. Two challenges. The first challenge is it's offered to any one of the clans. Am I correct? Mm-hmm. And the fight scene was very good. People complained about it, but I like the fight scene whereby anyone can challenge him. They go down into a waterfall area, basically, and I think they stop the water from continuing.
What's a hidden area in the hidden country?
A hidden area in a hidden country under a hidden waterfall, basically. And so what happens is that they fight it out, and the Dora Milaje are using their spears to push them off the cliff at the same time.
Well, they're closing the circle.
Right, they're closing the circle. They're closing the circle, and so the Jabari also doing it while they're fighting. I thought that was an excellent battle.
Yeah, it's a good visual.
The
very
visual.
good visual.
If you don't win, you can get pushed off the cliff, the waterfall, and you can end up dying, or you can get stabbed by them. Very excellent. They defeat the Jabari. Fantastic. Then the second one is when Killmonger comes in. Mm-hmm. Now, let's go back to Killmonger's character. Killmonger is the son, and this is spoilers right now. He is the son of T'Challa's father. I mean, the son of T'Challa's brother.
He's T'Challa's nephew. I'm sorry, his cousin.
His cousin. Let's go to his cousin, right? Who was left behind intentionally by T'Challa's father, T'Chaka, when he killed his brother. Okay? Confusing, right? He's royal blood. He should have been brought back to where? To Wakanda, because he's a Wakandan citizen. He's part of the Wakandan royal family.
What happens to traitors and their families?
Okay, so don't start with me.
What happens to traitors and their families?
You know what
everybody.
What happens
the War of the Roses better than anybody.
And their families.
The Tudors.
What happens to traitors and their families?
Look, the guy tried.
What he did was but the son was
that
not.
was an act of war against the state, and then he tried to do something with the king.
He
tried to take the king out there. You can't do it.
Hold on a second, because his wife said it. Everybody said he should have been brought back. Even T'Challa
No,
said, yes,
traitors, you don't.
Everybody said, everybody says that 20 years later when he comes back there, guns are blazing. Nobody would have made that call at that time. Okay, here's the call they probably would have made. They put up a list. Whose kid is this? Get rid of him.
Nope.
Okay, that way we don't have anybody else trying to go for a discussion.
They killed.
So why do they all feel so dishonored? Like, wow, this is such a wrong. They knew it was wrong when they did it.
Because it's a movie.
They didn't know.
It's a movie.
They knew it was wrong.
Because nobody thinks he's going to find his way back and then make that sort of demand on the throne.
That's what it was. But he did.
Nobody thought somebody would be on the throne who would even legitimize him, saying, "Yeah, you know what? I'll accept your challenge."
And the person who legitimized him didn't even know the truth. The guy's been hanging with Claw and is in part the killing of his family.
Right.
So it's like, why are you siding with Killmonger when Killmonger's father basically killed your father?
What he did was an act of war against the state.
He gave Claw the plans to get to Wakanda. Wakanda, he doesn't steal it. He blows up the border.
No, he steals it in order to get
but he
away.
Killed,
he ended up killing one of the border guards.
He killed a bunch of people.
Yeah, he did, and I think that because he was being chased. But
he left. He's a terrorist. The same thing he did to T'Chaka.
He's a prince of the state. if he wanted to get some vibranium, you think there has to be a way he could get some without having to kill people, incidentally or purposely, whichever one it was? The guy wasn't right. Yes. He wasn't right. And that's also why when Killmonger has his little, seance and goes to the other place to talk with his father, he's not connected to the rest of them because he disconnected himself from the ancestors by doing that.
Look, Killmonger and his father wanted to expand Wakanda outside. They wanted to export.
No,
they had to, because they had the vibranium and they wanted to show the world that, hey, these things that were happening were not copacetic.
No,
right? That's why
the prince fell in love. He was not supposed to go there and do the stuff. He went off script. He fell in love with someone, and he got sucked into that particular world. He already was in the wrong because, again, as a Wakandan, it's supposed to be Wakanda first.
Right.
He decided no, he wasn't going to do that. He fell in love with the girl. Fell in love with the story, said, no, we can do something about this. And even then, he's not going about it the right way, saying we can offer technology and education and a pipeline program. He's like, here, we're going to get some guns going, at this point.
Because they were banned, they couldn't do that. The official policy was Wakanda only for Wakandans, and that's it.
Yeah.
So he had to go another way around doing it. That's the reason why.
You take vibranium and buy guns?
Vibranium to fight for liberation.
Okay, I don't know if you're just spooling at this point to keep this going, but you're wrong.
I disagree.
I would just say the fact that the initial robbery of the vibranium is with Claw. So once he did that, anything he does after that is done wrong because he's already killed or helped someone kill Wakandans to get it. There. So it ruins everything if he is actually, actually a Black Panther in Oakland. It doesn't make any sense because then it's like you went back to your homeland and allowed people to die. Like, it's a terrorist act on Wakanda. That's the first one.
And not just that, he also, by doing this, he lets Claw in that, hey, this is where all the stuff is. And Claw becomes this perpetual threat or this perennial threat for them for over 30 years. He's the same reason why Killmonger is able to make it back, because obviously, even though he killed the father, he was still in league with Claw, and Claw's, he ends up, raising this kid. Okay, at the end of the day, that connection there seems, is seemingly obvious. Bottom line is they do a really good job with the villains because the villains, again, I've seen this so many times. They love to impart, those really cool masculine qualities on the villain. Even on the female villains, they love to do that. I do what I want. Nobody can stand up to me. I'm the best at what I do. Even when he fights T'Challa, I was wondering, why the hell is he beating T'Challa at this point? What skill does he have that T'Challa doesn't have being trained? He just...
He's special ops, he's been doing
The only thing I can give is that he felt sorry... No, the only thing I can give is that he felt sorry for him.
That's where I was...
That's why he gave him the...
Because he was torn about his father. He was more thinking like, this could have been handled by taking
bringing his brother...
T'Challa being a hero is like... I don't like what happened, and I would take the kid in as a king. T'Chaka's no. This is like, I'm not with it.
So but we also understand that T'Challa is different because T'Challa's exposure to the outside world is different than T'Chaka's. T'Chaka goes to the outside world for whatever it is, and where does he end up? He has to end up killing his brother, and his brother's what? His brother's loyalty is usurped, by infidels, by outsiders, or infidels, if you will. Whereas T'Challa goes over and he's trying to, if you look at him in Captain America Civil War, he has all the Killmonger qualities there. He's the guy, I'm going to do what the hell I want. I'm not listening to you. My skills are second to no one else.
He had some of that, but he does play more of the, a little less, not as strong.
Because he has that good moment at the end where he's like, no, I'm not going to, he's like, I'm not going to let vengeance or these lower emotions rule me the way that they've been ruled you. When he was talking to the Baron Zemo character, and he also said, 2, I'm not going to let you take yourself out. I'm not going to let you kill yourself. You're going to come and stand trial for what you did. You're not going to get off easy. Along those lines.
He was going for vengeance for his father, so that's why he was able to act that way. Was that the way he normally is, or is what we're seeing now representative of what he is? And I think this is more representative.
He's close to what he is in the comic, where he's more stoic.
I'm not in the comic, but I'm saying in the movie, I think he's more stoic in the movie that we see him right now. And,
he's only had 2 as hell with those outfits.
Come
on, I was like, I saw it second time.
But you got to draw from the comic because that's where that's the base for his character, and he's in line with what he is in the comic. He's more stoic. Okay, he's more deliberative. He's thinking about what's the best thing, not necessarily the best thing for himself, what's the best thing for the country.
Yeah.
And anytime he's ever had any sort of trouble in the comic, it's where he doesn't necessarily doubt himself, but he doubts whether or not these actions that he's taking are going to be the best for the country. The one thing he doesn't want to do, if there's any fear in this fearless man, is that he does not want to drop the ball as king on the country. This country has persevered, and he's been given this great golden thing at this point. He wants to make certain that it stays that way and that it doesn't, become dissolute in his hands.
That's a perfect segue into what we have the issue with, again, Killmonger, and we also have with Lupita Nyong'o's character, where they're like, we need to do more as a country instead of staying in here. And that is where you have the whole thing where, like in Trump, he wants to build, they're building, in essence, they have their invisible wall that protects them from going out, and keeps them in. They don't want anyone else, because if everybody knew that Wakanda was as rich as it is, then you'll have all those teeming millions of refugees coming there
But you don't have to let everybody in to help people.
You don't have to let everybody, but people are going to still want to come.
Yeah, but
you know what I'm trying to say?
Look, we already know everybody can want to come, not everybody's going to get in. That's just a fact of life. Okay? And we don't have to let if you make it so that your outreach is strong enough, everybody doesn't have to come. Okay, so if you're worried about your borders and such, keep your borders strong, but make your outreach strong as well. Then people don't need to come over.
I'm thinking like real world countries. You can have real world countries that have great outreach, but people are still trying to get there because that's where
you're never going to get everybody in, but you're never going to stop everybody. I don't think it's not an either. You don't have to choose either or.
Of course you do. You're going to have to say Wakanda for Wakandans or it's not for Wakandans, because what's going to happen? They're going to get overwhelmed by other people. You know what I'm trying to say? And this is basically what the Wakandans are saying, like the border guards.
There's a very old saying. It's an old Irish saying. Okay, if you have enough, you have enough to share. That's it.
I don't know about that.
Well, if you also have to look at it. You also look at this. Like the way they handle it is almost a cynical approach to Wakanda. Like they have everything. Why don't they do everything? Why don't they do this? Why don't they do this? With the rest of Africa?
Which you can't do either.
Exactly.
You're not people's fathers.
That's what I'm saying. You don't look at Thor. He doesn't go and like stop the fires in California or any areas of drought. So when you look at it, when Marvel and DC, when Stan and Jack was first started doing the comic, they were just trying to explain why they weren't colonized, because they're hidden, because you understand that if this happened, there's no way they would have been able to stop the colonizers from, the Black Panther doesn't actually utilize the technology. Claw comes in, steals a lot of it, and as a kid, T'Challa defends against it, and he's been preparing from the next, 18 years. Claw's coming back. Claw's coming back, and that's what happens. The attack is like these sonic creatures, and the Black Panther has a helper, but that's how they dealt with the aspect of how this hidden land. But the hidden land is more throwback to like Tarzan or At Earth's Core. Yeah. But now we're being cynical. We're like, oh, they got everything because we got all this tech, we got all this graphics, so they have everything because it's just cool. And now we want to be cynical. And I was like saying, hopefully they don't go forward and keep having this show. Here, this is how we help. They said they're going to help. In our heads, we write the story that they've helped everybody and moved on.
Well, you help as much as you.
I don't need them to do it. They answered the question. They went to when United Nations over.
That's like the Superman question, where everybody says, well, look, Superman can do everything. Why doesn't he just stay 24/7 helping people? You've got to be able to do some stuff. You have to be able to do the majority of the stuff on your own. And these heroes, they're not there to solve our problems. They're there to keep the playing field, they're there to keep the earth underneath our feet, okay, to keep the sky from raining down on us, so we have the opportunity to solve the problems on our own. They're not supposed to be this panacea that comes in and say, hey, look, we're going to give you all this tech, because it doesn't work at the end of the day. We can't throw money we've already tried it before. You can't throw money at the problem and get what you need. Aside of that, there are only two criticisms I had about the film, and I don't think it takes away too much. One, when he beat M'Baku, and they played this triumphant music. I hated that music. I was like, no, I hated this music. Took away from the scene for me. So again, that's a light point. But the other thing is they killed off or switched all the villains. Okay, Claw is dead, and I was like, well, wait a minute, he's not going to get the sonic powers. And then Killmonger is dead, and I was like, okay. And Killmonger, I was reading on the net, they were like, he's the best villain since Loki, and I was like, you know what? This is a pretty good villain, but he's gone too. Right. And then M'Baku, who was also a villain in the comics, has, aligned himself once, with the crown. So I'm like, so what are you going to do in the...
And he's too much of a friend now. We like him too much for him to go back and...
Those are his three major villains. So I'm thinking, okay, fine. So if there's definitely going to be a Black Panther 2, who's this guy going to contend against? So I don't know if anybody they can...
Doom. Kibber the Cruel.
Oh, God.
Doom.
Why is he going to... They haven't even introduced Doom. Why would he contend?
or somebody like
There was
him.
a cool
That's
storyline.
he always just throws doom in. It's like anytime it's just doom, doom.
Boom!
There was a cool
Superman,
storyline in the
doom.
comic, Strum and Drunk, during the Priest run, where T'Challa is contending against Magneto, who's like the ruler or king of Genosha at the time,
Right.
and the Submariner, who's the king of the king
Atlantis.
of Atlantis. So you could do stuff with that, but it has none of that's been set up in the story. So that would just be thrust upon us. And we've already seen what happens when they just thrust things upon us in superhero stories. We get the DC superheroes, we get the DC superhero films,
No slander,
which haven't been too
please.
good.
No slander. No need
All
for
right.
slander.
So that's the case. My I've already addressed the aspect of Wakanda having to help the world. So my only other issue is when they're in the car scene. I think they need to turn the music up a little because the music was hot. So I think they need to turn that up. Like blast that. That thing was crazy. But that's my only
I
issue.
thought the music was okay. I wasn't saying it was fantastic. Suicide Squad had some pretty good stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Look,
Trailer.
I like the
That's
movie,
it for
And I'm
that.
not supposed to take the low-hanging fruit, right? Okay.
We'll be here for an hour if you do.
So overall, we liked the movie, right? We all had
Overall,
good-
we enjoyed the movie.
People had some gripes about certain things,
We didn't have any real gripes.
Yeah, but we liked the movie. Cal, are you in agreement with us?
I already said, yeah.
I just wanted to confirm.
No,
So,
you're trying to stoke something.
forever, spit a rack out, Wakanda forever.